I am so incredibly stoked for this world right now. When I first got to see it, I literally was like, whoa, dude! It's crazy. I am so excited. I was literally like, thank you, Christ, out loud. It was... Seeing this was awesome. Hello everyone, I'm Axel, and I'll be going over my experience with long exposures at night with the Mamiya RB67. I love this camera. I have so many rolls of film spent through this thing, and it's such a beast. It's a mechanical wonder almost. I mean, just the size of the viewfinder and the rotating back and the fully mechanical body, which makes this thing a masterpiece of a camera, I think. Now, there's a lot of haters out there that say, oh, it's too heavy. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on. Come on. Come on. Alright. Okay, seriously though. The majority of my work has been on this camera, but I haven't been able to do long exposures at night. Or just long exposures in general. But that was until I got this bad boy. It's a Mamiya mirror up double cable release thing. You may be wondering, why can't you just use a regular cable? Well, that's because in order to make the mirror go up before the leaf shutter opens, you have to have a double cable and twist the mirror up function. It's really weird. Honestly, it seems like an afterthought for them. I wish they just had a bulb mode, but maybe that was pretty hard to do on a fully mechanical camera. But it's weird because you screw this in and you half press to put the mirror up, and then you fully press to open the shutter, but then once you release, it's still open. So then you literally have to carefully cock the shutter just slightly, it's weird. Or you can also change the shutter speed on it, but that's a little sketchy. So what I've been doing is, just before stopping my shutter, or just before closing my shutter, I would very carefully put my cap on the camera, then shutting off the shutter. It's kind of dumb. I really wish there was a bulb mode on this again, but this is how it works. I figured I'd make this video and test out the double release system before I take on the most ambitious project I have yet. I mean, I'm trying to capture day one of creation on film. I mean, how do you encapsulate the creation of light, the creation of Christ on film? So, I have a plan, and it's gonna be sweet. But this is my test, we'll call it. This is my pre-game warm-up. So, to test out the long exposures, you know I had to do a Startrails long exposure on medium format.
Here's the RB. I got my cables all hooked up. I've just loaded some Portra 400, and I'm getting ready to compose my star shot. You can even see those stars in the sky. You know, it's so green looking. Let's get ready. Long exposure in 3, 2, 1.
Comments wondering what the heck's going on. Why is there a camera out there? So, I'm gonna leave that out there for an hour and see how it goes. I have no clue how that's gonna turn out. I'm at f3.8, and hopefully an hour is enough time for the Startrails to show and the shot to be perfectly exposed. Who knows? I have faith though. So I always wanted to go and take these shots at the beach because of that weird lamp. And those lamps had a like square lamp head basically and a weird amber light that casted these blocky rectangular shadows on the ground. And it also created this weird like liminal space effect. And they just look so like creepy, and it just looks like it's part of a horror game, basically. And I'm glad I got to shoot those. It was really dark, and I think that darkness kind of adds to the composition because you can't really tell what the heck, like where that is or anything. It lit up the sea grapes into that amber yellowish color, and even the sidewalk looked like it was dark and kind of desolate, kind of scary place. Then after that night wrapped up, the next night I got to shoot the 4th of July. And I'm so glad I did because the shots are awesome. The first one I took was of the bay and all these boats kind of waiting for the fireworks to show. And it's awesome. You can see fireworks in the far distance to infinity, as well as all these light trails and motion blur from the boats because they were moving in the harbor. And that looks really cool. You can see the red and green lights kind of just streak across the film, as well as the fireworks in the background. Then I got to shoot fireworks close up. Here I captured one of our friends shooting off fireworks, and I got to shoot basically it launching as well as exploding and have all the dust fly onto the ground. Pretty cool. The next one, I had to position my camera up and kind of wait for a few fireworks to go off before I took the shot. And once I realized I positioned my camera right, I hit the shutter, and I took that one for about 4 minutes, and it had 2 consecutive fireworks shoot up, and that one looks amazing. Like, it just looks like a, well, it is an explosion. It's just, I've never captured an explosion on film, so those are cool. This next shot I got to take of a boat lit up with the fireworks in the background, and that looks really cool. There's a little bit of motion blur, but I'm surprised because the boat didn't move too much, but the flags in the background did, and you could see fireworks shooting off in other directions. Pretty cool. This roll was neat. It's unique. I don't have any other photos like this roll. At least now. For now. As soon as I opened up my developing canister and ran up to dry my photos, I was just like mind blown. They looked so good, and they're just awesome. I was so excited for them, and they just blew my mind. The Startrail is my favorite though, I think. I mean, I just lined my camera up and I was like, you know what? I can hardly see, but I think it's gonna be alright. And man, was I impressed. Yeah, when it comes to night photography, there's a little bit more of an element of kind of faith. I mention that in every video, I swear, but you don't exactly know what you're gonna get. You can kind of picture it in your head, but you don't know until the very end. And even when I compose my images, I don't exactly know what right exposure settings I should choose. I have a light meter app on my phone, which I use for night because it's too dark for my other handheld light meters. But after anything above 30 seconds, it doesn't really read. It won't read anything above 30 seconds. So that means I have to kind of guesstimate. And then there's also an element of reciprocity. And this makes long exposures kind of intimidating. The thing is that with color film, there's a lot of wiggle room because you can overexpose and still create something that's perfect. I think that most of the time you'll be fine just overexposing by a minute or two, depending on how bright it is. If it's very dim, you might have to do a long exposure. But most of the time when there's plenty of lights, you can hang around a minute, 2 minutes, or maybe even like 30-40 seconds. But I always add time for reciprocity and add just a little bit more time just to overexpose it, because why not? Film, especially color film, has a very wide exposure latitude, and overexposing works really well most of the time. And at night, you kind of want to overexpose anyways. It's weird because you might not see objects in the background at night, but after a while with long exposures, that film will actually pick up any kind of ambient light that you can't really see, creating images that look like they're from the day. It's really weird. Like the Startrail I took, which was an hour long, you can see the plants and the trees lit up clearly, which is odd because when I was looking through the viewfinder, I could hardly see them. Honestly, I didn't even know they would be in my composition. If you're a film photographer, there's a lot of opportunities to make beautiful photos during the day, but there's still so many more opportunities at night. Even though it may seem intimidating that you have to have a tripod, shutter cable, and calculate the correct exposure time, you can still create amazing images at night that don't require that much effort. Just point your camera out and let Christ and your film do all the work. Thank you to everyone watching. I hope that it inspires you guys to do some long exposures at night. I hope you have faith in your long exposures, and I hope that it all works well for you. Thanks again, everyone. Peace.